It started with an idea, a few key leaders, and a vision for what business in Iowa could become. 25 years later, the Iowa Business Council includes the top executives of 20 of the largest businesses in the state, plus the presidents of the 3 Regent universities and Iowa's largest banking association. The council celebrates its first quarter century by looking back at its genesis, exploring issues of education, healthcare, economic growth, and policy initiatives, and envisioning the future for Iowa.
The beginning of the Business Council really stems from a conversation, or a series of conversations that I had with Tom Urban. And we were decrying and deploring the environment for the business community in the state of Iowa. We were very much concerned about the tax situation, but even more concerning, I think, at the time was the lack of what we believed to be effective economic development. The two of us then came to the conclusion that we really needed an organization formed by the CEOs of the major companies in the state of Iowa.
We felt that we ought to address public, like welfare, public policy issues that would enhance the state and therefore our businesses. So to think of it as a business council is wrong. At least that was our perception. It was not a business council. It was a council of businessmen who had a mission to bring data and information for policymaking in the state.
It seemed to me that employers in Iowa were wanting to have a positive influence on the direction of the state with regard to economic growth, job creation, economic viability, and we larger employers determined that if we came together and focused on contemporary issues, big issues important to the state, researched these issues and made the state aware of the findings of these important topics, that it would have a positive influence on the state of Iowa.
Well, the Iowa Business Council opened for business in 1986, and the chair was the chairman of the Maytag Corporation, the late Dan Crum. The structure was modeled after successful business roundtables in other states, particularly North Carolina and Minnesota. Mr. Crum was a friend and mentor of mine, and he asked if I would be willing to come and staff the new group, and I jumped at the chance. The concept was to bring the best business minds available together to work on economic recovery.
Today, the entire state of Iowa benefits from the Iowa Business Council's vision that was established a quarter century ago.
Well, the Iowa Business Council is really able to rise above partisan politics and focus on issues that are critical to the future of our state.
Besides the camaraderie that we have with the Iowa Business Council, what I found fascinating is learning more about everybody's business, from the manufacturing segment to the service segment to the educational aspects of our state.
The perspectives that you get, that I can get from sitting on the council, from the various people, from all of the various sectors, and they come from a real broad cross-section, everything from ag to IT and in between. That means so much to a university leader, because I can come back and talk to our people about, we need to be thinking about preparing students to be able to do this or to do that.
And what I've learned from colleagues at the Iowa Business Council is the framing of the question, making sure we're asking the right question.
I think also it gives us an opportunity as other companies and working together to improve the state of Iowa, to find ways to retain talent within the state of Iowa that we really want to keep in our companies. And also I think through the years there have been issues such as healthcare, such as taxation, also how we work together on lean and improve that, which have been ways whereby all of us can work together.
I do think that the Iowa business leaders are unique in the sense that they also share a stewardship responsibility. And so the Iowa Business Council really gives us the forum as business leaders to help work on some of the more fundamental problems that can help Iowa become an even better state, great place to live, work, and raise a family.
From the beginning, the Iowa Business Council is focused on policies and systems that affect the ability to do business in the state and the attributes that business people care about the most. One of the key elements, education.
One of the natural aspects of Iowa's success is how well it educates its children. And that obviously is the feeder group for employees and for innovation and for all kinds of productivity that companies find in Iowa like no other place. So I think the Business Council, business leaders in general, are naturally drawn toward education.
Well, Iowa is very fortunate to have three outstanding public universities, and the University of Iowa, Iowa State University, and the University of Northern Iowa. A great collection of private institutions and one of the best community college systems in the nation. You put all that together, it is a very, very strong higher education enterprise. And education has always been very important to Iowa, from K through 12 through higher education.
We know, for example, that a college education has become invaluable in terms of employment opportunities. And here's where I think the Business Council can really help us begin to chart the future. Because the future in Iowa really is about more jobs and more opportunities. If Iowa is going to grow and survive as a state, it needs to provide more opportunities for those young people.
We'll learn a lot about how we can better prepare students to be successful in the business world, how we can add value with our research. And so it's just simply a great opportunity to learn from very smart people who care about the state of Iowa.
As the costs of healthcare have risen, it has moved up the list of priorities for Iowa businesses. While the Iowa Business Council recognizes the need to control employee health benefit costs, it also seeks to maintain the stability and effectiveness of the healthcare industry's infrastructure.
Well, I think we're fortunate in this state because we have a very strong healthcare system. We have historically had been ranked very high nationally as a low-cost, high-quality state. I think that's due to a lot of different factors, but I think it's a benefit and a strength for the state. The vibrancy of our healthcare system is also a good driver of the economy. We have a lot of people that we employ, good paying jobs that are providing a needed service. So we are an economic driver in virtually every community where we have a presence.
If you can deliver good health care, have good program of prevention, good program of wellness, I think people will say this is a state where we can invest and a state where we should go.
But what we've learned through the Iowa Business Council is that businesses look at healthcare as critically important to their success.
I mean, if you just spend any time on the dynamics of the health issue today and what it's going to do to the economy of this country over the next 10 years, it's breathtaking. As business leaders and other state leaders can absolutely step up and change the health trajectory in the state of Iowa and set the pace for the rest of the country. And that's what we're going to do.
As business leaders, members of the Iowa Business Council traditionally have focused on the economy and growing jobs in Iowa. Sustaining Iowa's competitive posture in the global economy is an ongoing challenge, requiring aggressive, proactive measures to address long-term issues. The Council works to identify major issues to be addressed for Iowa to generate and sustain economic growth.
Well, I think the number one priority for the economy is job growth. And here in the state of Iowa, we've got tremendous capability to do that through our manufacturing processes. It's a great place to manufacture products, a great Midwestern work ethic, again with strong people. It's an educated workforce that does an outstanding job.
And I think we need to be a little more aggressive and proactive about stating our case, why this is a great place to do business. Secondly, I think that we should just ensure that we have a positive business climate. I know that there are things that we could do better in this state. We need to be focused on addressing those so that we have a welcoming environment.
What makes this state good is the quality of our workforce. We like the climate, we like the work ethic, but yet there's opportunities for the state to make it an even better place for manufacturers to do business. We need to stay focused on the quality of life. We need to stay focused on sort of making this state friendly for business. And that means things around education, healthcare, from a quality of life for our employees, for our members, but also sort of the regulatory environment, the tax environment, the business rules, the efficiency and effectiveness of delivery of statewide services is very important to us.
Since its inception, the Iowa Business Council has cultivated a strong relationship with policymakers to effect change and promote a greater business climate in the state. Over time, it has evolved from a research and advisory organization to a proactive advocacy group, asserting leadership on major business policy initiatives.
Well, I think it's the priority for the Iowa Business Council is continue to support continuous improvement in government, taking time out of the equation, reducing waste, and providing a more effective and efficient government could be a top priority.
It's about creating kind of a partnership, if you will, between government, regulators, and the private sector to actually dig into it. I think it depends industry by industry.
I think that emphasis will continue to be on job creation and wealth creation and how we can create an environment where that can happen.
Whatever the issues of the state are, we're able to step back in a non-political way and weigh in on them, whether it's sitting down with the governor, sitting down with legislative leaders, or developing positions. And I think we learn from each other in the process.
What's ahead for the Business Council? Members look forward to a future that's as significant and productive for Iowa as the past 25 years have been.
The Iowa Business Council are trying to serve the people of the state of Iowa, to live a better life, to have a greater future, to generate new economic vitality. And if this council can offer just one suggestion a year to do that better, then we've fulfilled our mission.
The thing I come away from every meeting with is confidence in the future of this state. We not only have great leaders and smart people who are making the decisions that lead the biggest employers in Iowa, but we have good people leading those companies and those organizations.
The Iowa Business Council really creates an opportunity for our state's political leaders, public leaders, and private leaders to come together and solve problems.
What I've learned is the tremendous dedication and commitment and interest by business leaders in this state to framing a future for the state of Iowa that is not only good for us as business leaders, but good for citizens and good for our rural communities and good for our urban communities.
It's been a wonderful model, and I think if you look backwards, the key to that success is it's been forthright and honest with folks that it's interfaced with, especially elected politicians. There's been no mission. There's been no Republican or Democratic agenda. It's simply what can we all do working together to make Iowa a better place. And I think what I hope is that future members of the Iowa Business Council 25 years from now will sit and do an interview like this and say, gosh, we need to be thankful for the leaders 25 years ago that they stayed the course, they understood their mission, and they didn't deviate. And I think that's how we'll be most effective. And if we are, we'll make Iowa a better place for all of us.